Welcome to week 5 of Living a Course in Miracles, and our guest teacher this week is Gary Renard, author of Disappearance of the Universe and Your Immortal Reality. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about just my love of Gary Renard. And one of the things that when I first announced this class, the Living a Course in Miracles teleclass, I got accused of making the teachers special. And here's what I want to say absolutely from my heart. I love these teachers, and that does not mean I make them special. And because I recognize their magnificence, and I recognize that they are wonderful human beings who are way showers, who are literally sharing what they have learned along this pathway of love, I think it's magnificent. I think it's wonderful what they're doing and who they are, what they're expressing, more love in the world. And they're sharing with us how they did it, so that we too can live a Course in Miracles. It doesn't make them special. What I also know from all my years as a minister, as a science of mind practitioner, and just as a human being, is that everyone is wonderful. Everyone is magnificent. Everyone is really, at their core, amazing. Amazing spirit. Truly, truly, truly. So just because we recognize that in another human being does not mean that we have an ego attachment to them or that we're making them special. Recognizing each person's magnificence is part of our job in awakening. It really is. So Gary Renard to me is a magnificent human being. And when I first came across this book, it was through a friend of mine, Scott, who told me about Disappearance of the Universe, and he told me that he thought I would really enjoy reading it. Well, that was an understatement. I first read Disappearance of the Universe in, let's see, it was December 2005. December 2005. And when I first came across it and started reading it, I was actually reading it very early in the morning. I was visiting my brother. It was Christmas time. And I literally got up from the chair and started dancing around at 5:30 in the morning or whatever time it was. I was doing my meditation and contemplation practice. And I didn't want to wake anyone up in the house because I was definitely the first one up. But I really wanted to shout from the rooftops, because it was in Disappearance of the Universe that I felt a lot of validation from what I had been thinking about spirit. This was the first place that I read some things that I'd been thinking about, and I had never talked about them with anyone because I didn't want anyone to think I was insane. And so when I heard Gary's words, Arten's words, Persa's words, it lit my heart up. I thought, okay, here it comes. Yay. And I literally called all of my closest friends and I said, you must go get this book. You must start reading it. You're going to be so excited. Gary Renard is a friend of ours, and he has come to share his journey of awakening. One of the things that I've said for years now in my Monday calls, and just for those who are new to me, don't know, at my website, jenniferhadley.com, on the front page there's the Course in Miracles book. If you click there at jenniferhadley.com, you will be taken to my Course in Miracles page, and you can get my free podcast of several years of weekly calls, free calls that I've been doing since May of 2007. And I've stopped them because right now I'm doing this free teleclass, and I'm not sure what the future holds, but believe me, I will keep doing free calls and things like that because I love it. I love to share. So for the last number of years since I read Disappearance, and since I started doing those free calls on Monday, that phone study group with people from all over the world, I have been recommending to people that they read Disappearance of the Universe, because for me it was so deeply and profoundly comforting. And one of the things that's so comforting about what Gary shares is he shares authentically. He shares transparently. And that's a rare thing. That is a very rare thing. It's a very rare thing among spiritual seekers and teachers for people to be so transparent and so authentic. And that's one of the things that we've seen in this class with each one of the teachers, is that they have learned the value of being authentic and being transparent. And Gary demonstrates that, and he talks about it in Disappearance of the Universe, that there was a part of him that the ego mind wanted to make himself look better because he knew people were going to be reading this. And it's totally understandable, but his gift to us is that he tells it like it is. And he's willing to share all the comments that he made that were sarcastic and all the thoughts that he had of separation. And he doesn't make it prettier than it was. He doesn't make himself out to be more spiritual or more holy or anything like that. And that is the gift that Gary gives to us, is he's a real person having a real experience of his own awakening and his own journey, which is very unique in its way, but everyone's journey is unique. Everyone's journey is amazing and beautiful and spectacular. So the gift that Gary gives us is tremendous insight, tremendous wisdom, but it all comes from his willingness to practice the teachings of A Course in Miracles and live them to the best of his ability every day. That's where we all discover the wisdom that is divine wisdom. When we let go of all the thoughts that aren't true, then what we discover is the purity of truth. And it is the purity of true peace that accompanies our willingness to let go of all the thoughts that aren't true, all of the judgments, all of the opinions, all of the unforgiveness, the blame, the shame, the regret, the resentment, the guilt, the thoughts of revenge. All of that clearing away reveals only peace, only wisdom, only love, and joy. So one of the other things that Gary brings to us is his sense of humor. He cracks me up. Now, I will confess that it just, when I was reading Disappearance of the Universe, I felt so connected to Gary, as we all do. I think a lot of us do. We feel like we know him. And he allows us to really get to know him, which is such a gift. And then what actually happened for me and Gary is in 2000, I don't know now if it was 6 or 7, we became friends. And so we started hanging out together and doing things together and going to Agape together, and he moved to LA, and so now he's in the hood. And so but we actually don't get to see more of each other now because he still travels so much. However, what happened for me is this extraordinary connection with a real human being who, like me, is doing the best he can and feels that it is his obligation as a teacher. And to me, a teacher is just simply someone who's willing to share their experience, share what's going on. You know, we teach what we need to learn. So that's what he and I are both doing. We're teaching what we need to learn. We're sharing the roadmap of what our experience has been. And we're also demonstrating what it looks like, what it feels like, what it sounds like when someone's willing to be transparent. So is Gary a knucklehead? Yes, in my opinion. And am I a knucklehead? Yes, in my opinion. And we are both on this path of awakening to our true identity, spiritual knuckleheads. And so Gary cracks me up. He's a lot of fun. There's a tremendous amount of wisdom, and he keeps it real. He keeps it real. He also has such a deep and profound understanding and a willingness to do his work. And he talks about when it's really difficult for him, because he has been on this path for many years and he has had a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges, as we all have. It's part of the human experience. It's part of the unfoldment, is that the challenges come, and then what are you going to do? Are you going to walk your talk or not? That's always the choice, always the opportunity. So he tells it like it is, and he shares from the heart. He's a beautiful, beautiful man, and I am so grateful that he is our guest teacher this week. I really encourage you, if you're a Course in Miracles person, or you're thinking about looking into A Course in Miracles, start with Disappearance of the Universe. It's really accessible. You know, it looks like a big, thick book and can be kind of intimidating, but there's a lot of humor in it, and Gary, Arten, and Persa, they keep it real for us. It's a beautiful conversation that they let us listen into. So, you're going to be joining Gary and myself this week with Living A Course in Miracles as we talk about true peace and get a clear understanding of what that means to Gary and how he has discovered it for himself. Yay!